Today's talk, follow your passion. This is something which in society at the moment is definitely in the minority. When you come out of university, when you come out of the education system, the chances of you knowing what you want to do are very slim. You might think you know what you want to do, but the reality is we're lost. Young people get lost in the education system, being forced into the education system, being forced into make decisions really early, and before you know it, you get to about 26, 27 and you think, what am I doing? And you're not really happy and you feel stuck and you feel like you can't get out of it and you're trapped. And this does go up to, well, people throughout their careers. They feel trapped in their jobs, they feel like they can't get out. And this boils down to one main thing, and that's just the fear of the unknown. Fear of coming out of what you're doing, following your dream, following your passion, because it's the unknown. And that's the resistance inside your brain telling you to stay comfortable where everything's secure, everything, income steady, you get your holidays, you got your system, whereas your brain doesn't want you to go outside of your comfort zone and to think, no, I want to do something that I really enjoy. And I'm speaking specifically to here right now, I'm about to say to the young generation, where being mid, early, even to late 20s, especially when you come out of the education system as well, from university or college or whatever you're doing, do not feel pressured into doing something that you do not want to do. And don't just do it for the sake of doing it, if it means it's going to cause you a lot of misery and unhappiness. Because life is too short, and it's a fulfilling life when you follow what you really want to do. It's powerful, and it's not easy, but nothing good in life is easy. And the uncertainty of it is tough. But once you realise what you really want to do, it doesn't matter, because you're spending your life chasing your dream, chasing what you want to do. And only you can control that. Only you control your path. And a lot of young people get wrapped up in, society tells us we have to get a job. Society tells us we go to the 9 to 5, and for some people that works great. And if that works for you, that's amazing. That's great. But if it doesn't, and if you feel like you are getting sucked into that cycle, but you don't feel like there's anything else to do, don't feel like you should get sucked into it. Because the more life goes on, the greater the fear of changing your situation, and the more likely you're going to feel that you can't get out of where you are. And it's going to cause you a lot of what ifs. What if I did this? What if I did that? And that's regret that we would never want to live with. Because we don't want to look back on our time and think, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. Because you only live life on this planet once. So really think of what makes you really happy, what provides you with this huge sense of fulfillment. For me, it was a bit of a realisation when I worked on a farm, and that was a classic sacrifice I made. Yes, I got on great with my boss and people worked on the farm were great, but I didn't want to be a farmer. But I took the hit and I thought, I'm working on a farm because I don't know what I want to do. And people getting jobs in London, they were having more of a social life than me, and obviously it wasn't great. But I saw the fact that if I went into a job, I'd be severely unhappy. My mental health would get worse, it wouldn't get better. And before I knew it, I would just not enjoy life. So I took that sacrifice and thought, what do I want to do? And then I just had this epiphany about, I love training, going to personal training, going to the fitness industry. And it took a while to find that realisation after kind of working on the farm. Took a good couple of months after travelling. But then that gave me direction, that gave me focus. And once I started getting it, and I had my doubts, my goodness, I cannot tell you that I had my doubts. I was thinking, oh, I did the right thing. But pushed through anyway. I didn't let the resistance win in my head. And I've come at the other end and doing what I love. And I say this to you because sometimes it takes a little risk to take that little short-term sacrifice. It takes a little short-term sacrifice to sit back, take a step back and reflect. It's facing the unknown, it's facing that fear, but it's because your brain is telling you to not do it, which is exactly why you should be doing it. And then in hindsight's a wonderful thing. And it will always be in hindsight when you take that step back, you really analyse what you really want to do, what you're really find fulfilling. And then once it works, it might not work, once it does work, because you know it is going to work, once it does work, then you think, how fortunate was I to just take that little risk, push past that little mental barrier and just go for it. Because when you look back, you'll think of your time, you'll think, I'm so glad I did that, took that risk, I took that plunge. And if the worst comes to worst, what is the worst case scenario if you followed your passion and it didn't work out like you wanted to? What is the worst that can happen? It's not like, well, jobs at the moment, are surrounding coronavirus, but in terms of jobs, there are always jobs out there. And people might say it's not as easy as that, but that's the resistance inside of your head telling you to stay where you are in your comfort zone. And that's what it's all about. It's about stepping outside, you're on the tip of the iceberg. You want to do something different. You want to follow your dream. So just to summarise, for those people who are really stuck, getting no fulfilment out of life and thinking, what is it? What am I doing? If you're young, if you're coming out of education, your uni, please do not feel pressured into going into what society tells you to do. If that's what you want to do, if that's where your heart is, then amazing. But if it's not, do not feel pressured, because the longer life goes on and the more you get stuck in that societal norm, the worse it's going to feel like your situation becomes, because you're going to feel more and more unhappy doing something you don't want to do. And don't think it's too hard, because I'm no one special. I'm not any Joe Wicks. I'm no one special. But so many more people out there like me, normal people, no better than anyone else, took that little risk, took that plunge, and just doing something that we love, following our dream, following our passion. And no matter how stressful life gets, you always know that it's stress towards a good cause, towards your cause, not towards a cause where it's controlled for you and it's out of your control. So I hope that kind of resonates with some people who feel like they have no direction. And it's very common to not have direction and don't feel like that is not normal, because it is so normal. It is so normal in everyone, but as well as in young people. That's what contributes so much to young people's mental health issues, because you get so rushed into society, making all these huge decisions from the off, and you don't know what you want to do. You don't necessarily have the support from school systems, and therefore you think you should know everything and have all your shit together. But actually it doesn't work like that, because half the time people don't know what they want to do. They don't have a direction. So when all these decisions come on top of you and you feel like you have to have direction, because we're so ingrained to think you have to make this work, everything has to be in this perfect oiled up machine, and if you don't fit into that perfect oiled up machine, you see yourself as a failure, which damages your mindset and therefore damages your mental health, because you see yourself as you're going to get nowhere, which is a load of nonsense. And I cannot tell you, and I cannot stress enough how much rubbish that is. That's only because we're so forced into following the system, whereas if we don't feel like we fit in, we feel like we're a failure. When never feel like that. If you don't fit into the system, do not feel like you're a failure, because before you know it, when you follow your dream, you follow your passion, you will live more of a fulfilling life than those people who stuck into that oil machine and are doing something they don't want to do. So just remember that. And I hope that really helps, ladies and gents. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And just remember, follow what makes you happy. You will not regret it. And if you feel like you can't, that's your mind telling you to stay in your comfort zone where it's all clear and you've got everything sorted. All the good stuff in life comes from going against that resistance and going outside your comfort zone and pushing forward. And I believe in you. So adios amigos. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope you got something lovely planned. I'm having a day off over the weekend because it's been non-stop relentless work. Need a bit of time out. So yeah, lovely chat and see you next week.